Yeah, just a little bit is, as Connie was saying, my background is a clinical psychologist and currently the chief science officer for Flourishing Life. And so my journey has really been, a passion to work with people. But in the beginning, as a clinical psychologist, I was trained to sort of see people as having issues or challenges. Therefore, we would assess and then we would put a label on that. And oftentimes the challenge of labeling people through what we used to call it, well, it's still called that, the Diagnostic Statistical Manual. I think it's version 5 or maybe moving up to 6 or 7. Haven't looked at it for a while, but it's really about, people talking about a story and certain symptoms show up and then we label it. And I remember going through the DSM once and I was about 2 symptoms short of 5 major labels. We all have issues. We all wrestle with things in life. And what I heard when I was starting to work with people is that people don't want to be fixed, they want to be valued. And really, it comes down to this idea, how can we hear the story of people? Because that's how they talk about themselves, that's how they see themselves. One of the challenges, though, that people have is that they're not good narrators of their own story. They oftentimes perceive themselves a certain way and therefore interpret their sense of value, their sense of importance by sometimes how they think other people see them or what they expect other people want from them. And so I was moving more to this idea, how can we hear the story of people in a way that we understand what was important to them, where they want to be in 5 years, how they're coping presently with their circumstances, because it's not whether it's right or wrong. It just means that's what they've learned to date. Therefore, that's what they draw upon. And so my goal was initially around the concept of resilience. So I developed a questionnaire, and it was a way to hear a story, to understand that story and then respond to the story. But I was interested in what kind of kept people in the game. What were the strengths that they had that oftentimes they weren't even giving credit to themselves that they had. And then over about the last 5 or 6 years, I've been nurturing more of an understanding around what does it mean for people to flourish, which I believe is a larger concept. It's about a person's capacity to thrive, to be able to navigate challenges or bounce back. But it's also about experiencing positive well-being. And it's also this sense that I can actually draw upon certain skills in very competent ways. So I can create success no matter what my circumstances are, whether I'm living through challenging circumstances or growth opportunity circumstances. I know how to step back. I have the confidence. I have a sense of purpose. I have the right support system, but I can actually step out into the unknown or step out of my comfort zone and actually navigate those opportunities in positive ways so I can learn new things. So I'm always inviting people into this journey of what did you learn yesterday by being courageous to try things you've never tried before? And then how do you bring what you learned into today as you navigate your current challenges? But by stepping again out of your comfort zone, you're going to learn new things about yourself, new strengths, new sort of insights about who you are as a person and what you believe, which is then going to facilitate your success tomorrow. So it's an inside out model. So my traditional model of training was an outside in. I would listen to a story. I would tell them what they were experiencing. I would recommend what they should do as an intervention, and therefore they should do well. But the research is really clear that that's not a very effective model. What I'm interested now in is people owning their own story. What would you like to embrace that's going to move you more towards your passions, your sparks in life? And how do I come alongside you and facilitate that journey as opposed to try to manage the journey? So this idea of coaching is a very powerful concept. I remember a study where we were evaluating professionals in the counseling or therapeutic industry, and they all had their hat to hang on. They were a cognitive behavioralist, or they were psychoanalysis, or they were into narrative therapy. And what we found was, as long as the person stayed to their expertise, they actually did, somewhat okay. But what I really found profound in my insight is when we actually had clients meet with people that were other lay people. It was almost like a Tim Hortons conversation. And they were discussing and sharing ideas. And what we found was that lay people had a much more profound effect on positive outcomes than the professionals. And why? Well, these guys were trained. These people weren't trained. So what was the difference? Well, the lay people knew how to have a relationship. They actually came along people and accepted them for who they are. They didn't judge them. They gave them permission to talk about things and not to, sort of label it. And they also shared a bit of where they were on their own journey. So it wasn't just about a person coming alongside and I'm here to help you or fix you. It was about a person coming alongside. And I have the privilege of spending time with you. I want to hear what's important to you. And as a result of this, I want to thank you because I'm changing as a result of hearing your story. It's an exchange of stories and insights that's based on a beginning of, I want to create an environment for you where you feel safe, where you don't feel judged, where you actually feel like I respect you, because that ties into that amygdala part of the brain, that part that's the defensive. Your brain was not designed to, your brain was actually designed to survive, not thrive. You scan your environment 3 to 4 times every second looking for a threat. It could be a tone of voice, it could be the way you're treated, it could be whatever. But then that causes you to move into defense mode. And when you're in defense mode, it's very difficult for you to think about what could be different in your life or how you could try things differently. And so the uniqueness of the coaching model is, how do you create that safe environment? How do you create an opportunity to be curious about what might be? What are possibilities of next steps? What are possibilities that you might experience if you step out of your comfort zone? And then to be able to share ideas about what possible strategies might be to go forward. But you always start with strategies that heighten the greatest probability of the person being successful, because the key to engaging people in change is rewiring the brain. And the only way you can rewire a person's neural pathways is by giving them new experiences. And those new experiences connect the dots and they can override past experiences. And it gives people a new sense of, I can do things. I can have confidence because I know actually I had success yesterday and I can create that success today. And I'm looking forward to tomorrow. So it's a growth process that occurs over time. The end goal is flourishing. And flourishing isn't, aha, I've arrived. Flourishing is, I really like who I am. I really think it's neat about what I'm going to experience tomorrow. I have some amazing people in my life. And no matter what life throws at me, I'm actually going to embrace it as a learning opportunity. And I'm going to be better tomorrow than when I am today. And also, as a part of that confidence and building, you start to actually think in terms of who else can I help? So it has this amazing energy to sort of invite you out of your own egocentric world into, how do I help others? Because if you truly want to learn about yourself, and if you're a coach working with people, get them involved in helping others, because that is truly where you learn. Because there's this creation of hormones around a sense of, I went to sleep last night and I had this amazing feeling that it was a good day, not just for me, but it was a good day for the people I was with, because I was reaching out to help them in ways that they never thought possible. So you're passing on this legacy of success. So to me, coaching is an amazing role. It carries a lot of responsibility because we oftentimes have this deep-seated feeling that I have to fix somebody, as opposed to, no, I actually just have the privilege of spending time with you. And in that time, I want you to feel valued. I want you to feel something's possible. I want you to explore things. Matter of fact, I always tell my sons at the end of the week, so how was your week? And they know I'm not talking about, did you have a great day and felt good about it? What I want to know is, how many times did you mess up? How many times did you step out and try something and it didn't quite work out the way you thought of it, but you have the courage to take a step back, think about what was going on, and then try a different approach and then move forward. And I know I was listening to a thing just earlier today, and it talked about, you can have amazing talent, you can have amazing opportunities, you can have this athletic prowess that is so profound when people watch, but if you don't have the courage to endure, none of that really means anything. And that's really the key to this, is this persistence, this grit that we develop because we don't give up. Why? Because we know we can do great things and we have that history to do it. And if you have the privilege of walking along somebody, you're actually kind of like a coach, you're a cheerleader in some sense, because the goal is for them to own their own story. You have the privilege of maybe chapters 3 and 4, but you have to prepare your clients to write chapters 5, 6, and 7, because that's their legacy. So real coaches or effective coaching, I don't come along and saying, this is the way you should be. I accept people for who they are now because they are amazing. They just don't know it. And that's the amazing journey we bring people on. The end goal is flourishing.